We've reviewed for 8 days now. So it's been a while since I talked about the actual day of the exam. So go over that real quick. 12:30 to 3:30 down in D. For some of you guys weren't here last week and maybe didn't hear this, it's not in the band room. It's going to be in D122, which is right downstairs over here. Please bring blue or black pens, pencils, and a straight edge. That's your job. I'm not going to bring any of those extra. That's your job. Realize that when you take the Regents, it has to be all done in pen. All right, except for if there's a graphing question, you can do that in pencil. All right, my suggestion every year, do the whole thing in pencil first. And then when you are satisfied, right before you give me the exam, go over it in pen. All right, you cannot leave D122 until 2:30. All right, you cannot leave until 2:30, so you might as well make the most of it. And you have 3 total hours to do the whole exam. All right, so make sure you have all those supplies with you. Remember, here's the setup. You're going to pass the exam in the multiple choice section. Hurry up, Emma, please, because we need to start doing some problems with you. All right, make sure that's there. All right, make sure we do well on the multiple choice, because that's where we're going to win the game. All right, everything else is pretty much icing on the cake out of those 86 points. I showed you guys a conversion chart when we started studying. That 26 got you 65. I don't know what it's going to be. I don't know. All right, this one here, look, it's 28 points. All right, so don't assume 26. Don't assume 26. This one was 28. Could be 30 next Thursday. I don't know. All right, so just don't assume it's such a low number. And then review sessions. I got 2 review sessions that you guys can come to. Next Wednesday, 9 to 2, basically all day. And then the morning of the exam from 9 to 11:45. That's come and go as you please. You do not have to stay the entire time. And yes, if you do come, that's an opportunity to add 2 points on your quarter 2 tester quizzes. All right, but come and go as you please, especially that Thursday morning one might be helpful for a lot of you. I'll be here from 9 to 11:45, and they're both in this classroom. All right, anything else we got to talk about? 9 to 2 and then 9 to 11:45 next Wednesday and Thursday. And of course, all my free periods after school up until next week when midterms start. Yeah, Paige.
For like, and actually, I don't know if never mind. I'll wait because everything was on really close by.
Okay. All right, you ready? Let's go. I got a bunch of multiple choices I want to go through with you today. Number 1. Okay, you read through this. I just want to make sure we're good right off the bat. Getting free 2 points here. It says 70% of the customers, and notice where it came from. The survey was given to the customers at the Staten Island Ferry Terminal. All right, and 70% said how fast they serve the coffee was most important to them. So which one can we infer? Let's go through each one. Most customers in New York State. No. Where did we take this? Staten Island Ferry Terminal. So you just can't say because 70% at Staten Island, that means 70% in all of New York State. All good there. All right, next one. Coffee drinkers care less about taste and more about being served quickly. Again, it's not getting specific. You're talking about all coffee drinkers in the United States, in the world. It's not specific. So we just can't say that. Most customers in Staten Island care most about being served quickly. There we go. All right, right? Because again, where was this survey given? At the Staten Island Ferry. So that's the only thing I can infer is about those people that took it there. Not anybody else in New York State or anywhere else. All good? Started off on the right note, 2 points. All right, let's go. Number 2. Which one's equivalent to x minus 2i squared? Here's why. I know, here's what happens. You guys are getting into this mode here. I'll just go here. I'll go to calculations and type that in. You can't type that in. All right? You cannot type in an x with an I. All right? It's not going to happen. Well, I have 2 options right now. I either do the darn thing out, like I pretend it's a part 2 question, x minus 2i, and get after it. Or, Paige, another suggestion? You could store a number in for X. All right, so say we wanted to store 4 in for X. You could store 4 in for X on your calculation screen and then type in X minus 2I squared. It'll give you a number. And then I type in all my choices and see which one matches that. All right, I'm getting real concerned that we don't know when to store, when not to store. All right, storing is going to get you those easy points. So you have 2 choices. Do it out by hand, double distribute, or store in a number for X and figure out what my choice is going to be. So let's try that out, please. Let's try that out. Either you can try it out by hand, double distribute, or store in a number, whatever you think is going to work for you. I want to clean this up on when to store, when not to store, and actually how to store. I have choice 4. Choice 4. I'll store your number in up here. Let me know. I'll store your number in up here. Okay, so again, you cannot plug that in your calculation screen. But like something like this, 4I squared, you can type that in. As long as it's just an I, you can type that in your calculation. But anytime you introduce a new variable with it, cannot just type it all in and expect an answer. You're going to have to store. Anything? Want me to help you out with the calculator? Go in. Ask now. Can't do it next Thursday. What do you got, Richie?
I'm just confused because I stored. What do you actually type into the calculator?
Okay, did you store it first?
Yes.
What number did you store?
Um,
What's that?
2.
Okay, so 2 store in for X, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so next up, I type in the question. X minus 2I all squared. It's going to give me negative 8I. So now I go through I type in each choice and figure out which one's going to give me negative 8I. Boom, it's that one. Okay? Anybody else? All right, number 3. Here we go, number 3. Which one's what's the amplitude up here of this sine equation? Which one's the amplitude? Before we answer that question, let's go through each because you got A, B, C values. What's the name of them? So 4.8, that's your A value, which is also your amplitude. Okay, that number there is, yes, it's called our A value. It's our amplitude. So, okay, we already found the answer, but let's keep going here. This pi over 6 is my B value. The B is referred to as your anybody. Frequency, not the period, the frequency. And then usually you have a C value at the end. This one's a little unique, but you have a C value at the end. And that is, we have multiple words for that. Shift and midline. Yep. All right, shift, midline. Now, this one's a little special because it does have another number in there. All right, that's very rare, but let's cover it. I'll just call it the D value here. Anybody remember what that tells you? What do you mean by shift?
That's vertical.
Up and, oh, whoa.
No.
The number on the outside here, that's my up and down shift. If there is a number inside the parenthesis with the variable, that's my left and right. So this one would move left 3. Okay, left 3. All right, but these are the 3 you got to be familiar with. Amplitude, frequency, shift, midline. Okay, we good? All right, I'm moving. I'm not doing 4. I'm doing 5. What? Go ahead.
For the shift,
Yep.
plus 3. So
that's a shift left.
Yeah.
So like
Left and right go opposite.
yeah, so like your period would be whatever, right? And the first
No. The period would be 2 pi
yeah.
divided by pi over 6.
Yeah, I know. But the start of like your first x value would be 3.
No. Your first x value is whatever you get is the period divided by 4.
Okay.
Like if you were you're saying you were graphing this and you got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is your period. 2 pi over b. This is period divided by 4.
Yeah. Okay.
This all this 3 is saying, Harper, is this the original sine graph is going to move to the left 3. And you're never going to have to worry about graphing something like that. Okay? That's all that means is this graph is going to move shift left 3. Okay? Anybody else? All right, let's go. 5. Haven't talked much about this. So point A, negative radical 3 over 2, 1/2. And what's that angle measure? What?
Wait, isn't it?
No, hold on. We're going to start by saying I have absolutely no idea. That's what we're going to start saying. All right, fine. You should be able to eliminate 1 though. 1 answer up there is no shot. Even if you have no idea how to do this problem. Which one are we getting rid of? Or not, maybe not. Look where the angle is.
30.
It's in quad 2, isn't it? So we're getting rid of 30 degrees. There's no way that can be 30. All right, so now we're down to these choices here. We could do this a couple different ways. Anybody want to throw anything out there? Negative radical 3 over 2 comma 1/2 is my coordinate on the unit circle. And I haven't reviewed any of this, so. But anybody want to, any takers here? Start this one off. Going? No? Okay. No big deal. Anybody remember radical 3 over 2 comma 1/2? I got a 60 there. Is it 60? Or is it 30? All right, because we had what? 30, 45, 60? Right? It's definitely not 45 because that was the same thing, radical 2 over 2. Anybody remember this one? Radical 3 over 2 and 1/2. It is the one for 30 degrees. Yes, it's the one for 30 degrees. All right, so these are the coordinates for 30 degrees, but how does that even help us? I'll show you another way to do it. All right, so it's a coordinate for 30 degrees. Can you guys find that angle now? What's the rest of it? 180 minus that, so 150. All right, now let's say I totally didn't even come to my mind, 30, 60, 45. On the unit circle, if we're all on the unit circle only, anybody remember what the x coordinate represented? On the unit circle only, the x coordinate is cosine, and the y coordinate is your sine value. So what we could have done is, in our calculators, type cosine of cosine 120. Do I get negative radical 3 over 2? Sine 120. Do I get 1/2? And the answer would have been no. So now I do cosine and sine of 135, cosine and sine of 150. All right, so 2 different ways. I can either remember 30 degrees is equal to radical 3 over 2, 1/2. Or I remember x equals cosine, y equals sine. Okay, a couple different ways there. All right. So $1.50. All right. Make sure, be careful. What are you typing in? 150.
Oh, degrees.
Right, yeah, so just make sure you're in the right mode. All right, next up, let's go to 7. Go ahead, let's go to 7. Which sketch represents this equation? Yeah, I'm not trying to fool anybody here. Graph it. And at this point, if we don't know to graph it, that's going to be a problem, I think, at this point now in the review. Toolbox, right? To put that 100 down below. Toolbox. Find the matching one so we can move on. Should be the 4th graph. Okay, 4th graph going. We sure? Okay, let's go. 8. What do we mean by the word roots? Answers, right? Yep. Okay, answers. Which ones have roots? 3 plus I, 3 minus I. What's your go-to here? Yep. Okay, yeah. Here you go. I'll do it with you on this one, just so we're good. So I go to equations. Let's type in the first one, x squared minus 6x plus 10 equals 0. Okay, what's it tell you? Has no real roots. Now, hey, if you haven't noticed already during our review, your calculator cannot do imaginary answers. It's just going to say, hey, it's got no real roots, which tells us it's imaginary. And what type of roots do we have? Imaginary. So maybe that's a choice. Maybe. All right, I'm not going to circle it right away or cross it out. Maybe a choice. Watch what happens as we go through the other choices now. All right, go ahead, type in choice 2. X squared plus 6x minus 10. What happens here now? Everyone see, I got real answers here. I don't have imaginary. They're telling me it's -3 minus radical 19, -3 plus radical 19. Everyone good? Did that run out of juice, Kate?
Yeah.
Okay, just make sure you give it to me so I can plug it in. Hey, we good? These are real. Keep going. Keep typing in all your choices. X squared minus 10x plus 6 and x squared plus 10x minus 6. I will save yourself some time. All of these are going to come out to have real answers. Okay, there's only one that the calculator set up, no real roots, and that was choice 1. Now I know what question should come up, and that's what? What if 2 of the choices came up to be no real roots? Then if that's the case, I need to bust out, which is on your formula sheet, quadratic formula, where the calculator already tells you what to put underneath, b squared minus 4ac, and figure out which one comes out to be 3 plus I, 3 minus I. All right, so if I did have 2 answers that told me it was imaginary, I'd have to do quadratic formula. But wasn't the case here. We got lucky. All right, 9. I want to see if anybody catches the key phrase here that tells me exactly where to go. Thank you. Go ahead, Richie, again. Continuously increasing compounded continuously, automatically what formula? A-PERT. There we go. Don't worry about the choices. I don't care what the choices are. I don't care. Help me fill this in. You have 12,000. Where's that going to go? For P. That's my initial, right? 12,000. E raised to the, ooh, you're going to plug in 2.5 for R? Darn right you're not. You're better than that. I'm not going to plug in 2.5. I'll plug in 0.025. Yep. And which one will, is it equal to the number of years it will take for it to increase to 15,000 students? Where's, that's my A. I wanted to get to that number. So 15,000. That's 150,000. 15,000. There we go. Time for T. Don't worry about the choices yet. Hey, I don't care what the choices are. You tell me how to solve this though. Equations. All right. What if I needed to show work though? I am going to let you go to equations, but what if I needed to show work on a part 2 through 4? Okay, here we go. Real quick. Divide by 12,000. Yes, I'm going to let you go to equations just to find the darn answer, but I just want you to talk to me how you would solve this on the second, third, or fourth part. What is that? 1.25. Okay. What's your next move then if I had to solve it without equations? Yeah. Now I log, but once the base and the exponent, I bring down the exponent 0.025t log E. And on the other side, keep it balanced. Log 1.25. Keep it balanced. And then divide out everything on the right side. Okay, so whether you're doing this with me or going to equations, everyone's going to get a value of t, right? I don't know what it is. You'll know what it is here in a second when you do it. And all I want now is, where do I get that same value when I type in my multiple choices? And this is the first time we've seen the ln, natural log. No problem. That's just right between the e to the x and your log button. That's where natural log is. So figure out what t should be, either by using equations or solving this, continuing what we're doing, and then find where that number matches one of these multiple choices, please. Figure out where that number matches one of your multiple choices. So we're on the same page. You guys getting what, 8.925 here? Okay. Go find where it's equal to one of those choices now. Go ahead, Gabby.
So I did like how I did it like that on the board.
Yep.
So if answer 4, like I can't just like quickly, because so I had 1.25 over 0.25 equals t.
Yep.
Would that work without having to solve t?
You could. I would just plug it in just to be on the safe side.
Okay.
Okay? I would just plug it in to be on the safe side that you do come out with the same answer. And we find in its choice 4. Comes out to be about 8.925. Okay, I want to moving on. All right. So continuously, A-PERT, continuously. Number 10. Number 10. What do you want me to do? Graph it. Yeah, right? Graph it. See where the intersection is. Graph it. Remember, you got to put a 1 in. When you can't just delete it. You got to put a 1 in for the E to the first. Can't just delete it. Well, actually, you put e to the x in. What am I talking? You don't put a 1 in, you put e to the x in. Sorry, bless you. You just put an x in there. Shouldn't put a 1 in there. One jab. And this is why these calculators are nice. If you had to use the graphing one, you'd have to figure out where to put your window, and this goes right to the graph. How many points of intersection? One. 1 point of intersection. And I'm going to do one more with you, and that's number 12. How many of these have we seen, huh? Too many, right? Focus, parabola, directrix, vertex. All right, here you go. Well, unlike the last couple we've done, this one tells you what the vertex is. 2, 1. There's your vertex V. 2, -3, or 2, shoot, one jab. 2, 1, there's your vertex. Focus is 2, -3. Okay, whoa, real quick, because I'm going to help you eliminate a couple choices right now. Where's the directrix got to be? Below the vertex or above it? Above, right? Because the vertex is in the middle of the focus and the directrix. Meaning, if the parabola never hits the directrix, is this going to open up or down? Down. I'm eliminating at least one of them.
One.
Yeah, right? Because it's going to be negative out in front. So it should be opening down. Now, I'm going to do this all out because I have a gut feeling the part 2 or 3 question next week is going to have right out the equation of this parabola. But since it's multiple choice, I would go to grapher, graph each, and see which one has a vertex of 2, 1 is opening down. Okay, and that's what I would do there. All right, so how do I do this? Just by hand? You guys got a formula in your formula sheet, right? Y equals, go to it if you need to. I'm not going to spoon feed you this. Parabola equation, 1 over it's on the formula sheet. What is it? Y equals 1 over 4 P. Now, I don't know, how do I have it there, so? Okay, it's tough to see on there, but that P should be with the 4. All right, so if you need to make an adjustment on your formula sheet, please do. 1 over 4P, and then x minus 8 squared plus K. It's coming up, you guys, every exam we've done some type of focus parabola question. Every exam. All right. What's the p-value again? That's my it's pretty easy on this one as long as we know what the heck it is.
4.
I don't want to know what it is. I don't want to know the number, but how do you find the p-value? Distance from the vertex to the focus, or vertex to directrix, it's the same. So from vertex to focus, you can just count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 times 4. H and K are the vertex coordinates. H and K are the vertex. So x minus 2 all squared plus the y value, 1. Now, again, you just got to keep in mind, this is the worst part about it is, all right, look, I did 1/16, x minus 2 squared plus 1. We crossed that one out. Why do we cross that one out? It's got to be going, if it's going down, it's got to have a negative out in front. So if we were doing that on a part 2, that's something we'd have to realize, oh, it's opening down away from the directrix. Okay, here you go. Don't waste my time, please. Don't waste my time. 13, 15, 17, 18, 19, 24. All these should be done on the calculator. All of them. I pick one specifically where you can just use the calculator. If you want to try it by hand, you can.